This topic today is accessibility in Canvas. I'm going to kind of skip back and forth between my PowerPoint slide and then going to Canvas to show you a few things. So if what I'm talking about doesn't make 100% sense right at the beginning, I will go to Canvas and show you what I'm talking about. And if you do have questions, just unmute your microphone and ask. All right, so first of all, what I talk about is just general accessibility guidelines, things that make it easier for students that have particularly visual problems help with your course. So one thing you want to keep in mind is the layout of, like, say, module pages, things like that, assignments, all that. They should be simple, clean, and uncluttered without a lot of extra junk added in. Navigation should be very clear and consistent from page to page. So if you're creating assignments, you're creating pages, say, for an introduction, hey, this week we're going to do this and this, try to keep things similar. That way that student who comes back the next week kind of knows what to expect. Content should be organized and chunked together in short paragraphs. So rather than lots of long paragraphs, chunk things up to make it easier. That way, if they're going back to find something in particular, it's easier for them. Images should have alt text, and I'll show you how to do that and what it is if you're not sure. Links should be attached to words that describe it. So rather than putting a giant URL on the page, you put something like SVSU and then link it. And I'll show you how to do that in Canvas. Good text contrast, that's like this page with the black and white, should be hopefully very easy to see. And Canvas has something built in to help with that too, so that you don't have to know about what good contrast is. I'll show you a tool built into Canvas that allows you to check that. If you include tables in any pages, assignments, things like that, you should include column and row headings. I'll show you how to do that. And if you're including videos, you should always have the option to have captions. Now, if you're using Echo 360, there is it's ASR, automatic speech recognition, that does allow for captioning to be done as you're talking, and it creates a transcript of whatever video that you're putting together that you then just have to go back and read through to make sure that it got everything correct, make a few corrections, and then go forward. So that's something you're interested in. Just put in a ticket, email support, and say you're interested in learning about ASR in Echo 360, and someone can help you with that. So now Canvas itself, they work very hard to make sure that Canvas is accessible to all. I'm not sure if it's still the case, but back a few years ago when I'd gone to a Canvas conference, the person that was in charge of accessibility in Canvas was actually a blind man. And so he definitely knew and able to test everything to make sure things worked well. So they're really dedicated to making sure that it is accessible to everybody. All right, now this is the first set of things that we're going to go through. One of the things is to do with font sizing. So if you have somebody who has a hard time seeing small print, if you zoom in on your screen, Canvas automatically scales so that you don't have to scroll left and right to see everything. It automatically positions things on the page so that students can see things. So it's made nice and easy to just zoom in, and everything will still be available to them. The calendar has what's called an agenda view. That also works very well with the screen readers, and I'll show you how to do that. If you have a student with disabilities that needs extra time on a quiz or extra attempts, they can do more than one attempt compared to everybody else, there's a way in the quizzes tool that you can set that up, and I'll show you that. There are two user settings built in to make things easier. As it says, enhance accessibility. There's a high contrast UI option and underlining links option. I'll show you where you can access those. And the chat tool does have an optional audio notification. That way, if somebody's sitting there, it'll make a notification to let them know that a new post has been made. So let me check here quick, see if we had any. And yes, the column and row headings are for text-to-speech. That way the student knows, it reads, okay, this column is, say, names, and then it'll make more sense to them. So, and I will show you how to do that in a little bit. All right, so let me skip to Canvas. All right, so first thing I was going to show you is with zooming. Now if you zoom in on the page, and I'm just going to use the Control Plus button to zoom in. As I said, all of this information was all still available. Now the far right, where it says importing existing content, if I zoom in one more time, what it did is it moved it down underneath. That way students don't have to scroll left and right to see the content. So it automatically resizes everything on the page so that everything is still easily accessible. All right, if I go to the calendar in Canvas, here the default view is month. You can look at the calendar per week, but then there's also this agenda. An agenda just shows, and I don't have anything on my calendar, but if I had things on my calendar, it would just show a list of everything. And that's a lot easier way for screen readers to be able to read out all the upcoming assignments and appointments and things like that. All right, so I'm going to go into a course quick, and I'll show you the quizzes. All right, so say if this is the quiz that everyone is taking and I have a student that needs time and a half on all of their quizzes. I'm going to open this quiz up. I'm going to click on this moderate this quiz link over on the right-hand side. Now the first step is to choose which student gets extra time. So say if it's this student here, I'm going to click that pencil icon to the far right. No, this is not a timed quiz. I always forget that part. If it was a timed quiz, it would show me how much time, and then I would enter in the box how much extra time. This is not a timed quiz, so let me change that really quickly just to make more sense. You're only given the option if you have a time limit. All right, so let's make this a 10-minute quiz. All right, so again, I'll click on this moderate this quiz. I click the pencil icon to the far right for that student. Extra time, it shows me everyone gets 10 minutes. I know this student gets time and a half, so I put 5. They get 5 extra minutes. If I did want them to have an extra attempt, to be able to take it twice rather than just once, I could enter everyone gets 1. I want this student to get 1 more attempt. And that's not as common. That's usually if a student messes up and needs to be given an extra time, their internet fails on them during the middle of it, you can come in and give everyone extra attempts. And then I'm just going to click on Save. And now it shows me this student gets 5 extra minutes on each attempt. You have to do this for every single quiz that the student is taking, exam. You can't just do it for all. Every single one you'd have to open up and give them extra time. But it's not that difficult to come in here and add that extra time. And let me... And yes, I will make that PowerPoint available to you if you would like. Okay, let me back. Now the user settings are something that are per person. And I believe it's settings. Yes. All right. So I went into my account by clicking on account for my name, and then I clicked on settings. And then if I scroll all the way to the bottom of the page, here is this high contrast UI. It enhances color contrast, so they can turn that on. And this is each person would have to do this themselves. And then there's the underline links, and that just makes the links more, rather than just being a blue link, it will automatically be underlined. So any links you have on the page will be underlined. That'll just make them easier to see. So those are things people can turn on their own if they would like to. All right, let me look at one more thing before we go on. And that was the chat tool. If I open the chat tool, Up in the upper right, it says new message alerts. If I toggle that on, Canvas will make a noise if I'm in the chat room and somebody makes a post. So that way I can hear that a post has been made. So that's turned off by default, but anyone can come in and turn that on. And that would be just for them. All right, do we have any questions so far? All right, let's get back to my power. Yes,
Cindy,
yeah.
I just wanted to check, you mentioned about the agenda instead of just the calendar showing up.
Right.
Is it only helpful in reading, or is there like a visual difference in how that works?
No, it's just pretty much it's a list rather than boxes where you have to be able to look at. It's just a list of, hey, you have this appointment this day. So it'll list the day and then this item, this item, this item. So if you remind me
Okay.
at the end, I'll go in and create a couple of things so that way you can see what it looks like.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Cindy,
Yeah.
this is Dawn. Do the students who need access to underlined hyperlinks or high contrast, are they getting training on how to get that, or are we supposed to share with that?
I'm not 100% sure if they're working with disability services. Is that something they let them know? I mean, it definitely, if you had a student that you knew was blind, these would be some things that maybe you would want to make sure. But I would guess that the people at disability services probably would know about this, but I'm not positive. So you might want to check if you do end up with a student that you know has some sort of visual disability. So. All right, so the next part, things I'm going to show you are all in the Rich Content Editor. So this slide is just showing you what the Rich Content Editor is, just to make sure you know what I'm talking about when I say Rich Content Editor. This is that editor that shows up if you are creating assignments, announcements, pages, whatever. So all the next things have to kind of do with this Rich Content Editor. Now, within the Rich Content Editor, there are multiple accessibility features. One is alt text. By default, an alt text is words that go along with a picture. That way, if a screen reader is reading it, it has something to read so that the student with a screen reader knows what the image is. By default, Canvas makes the alt text the image name. So if you upload it and it's got a good name, it's automatically going to put alt text in to be the title of that file. There's the ability to attach words to a link so that if you, like I said, put SVSU as the website and then attach it rather than having the entire URL. Tables, there's the ability to set column and row headers and to add captions. And a caption for a table is just a description of what is this table about. You can set up headings within Canvas rather than just typing larger, bolder words to, you can actually make things headings, and I'll show you that. I'm not 100% sure about this create and upload caption files. There's something kind of built in, but I don't think it really works. Echo 360 is probably the best way if you're going to add a lot of videos in. And then there is an accessibility checker that checks for all of these different things to make sure that your page is good. Now, the accessibility checker verifies the following accessibility rules: that you have table captions and headings, that your headings are sequential, so you don't skip from a larger to a small without the middle size heading. Heading size and the alt text can only be less than 120 characters, and it checks to make sure that you have alt text too. Links, it makes sure that all of your links have no spaces or breaks so that their links will work. And it checks for your text contrast. So you don't have to understand the large text, small text, how much bold and large and all this. It will check it for you. So let's go to Canvas and I will show you. All right, so I have a couple of pages that I've created in my modules to help show all of these different rules. So I have what is called my bad page 1. This one has problems, and I'll show you how to use that accessibility checker and what it checks for. So the first thing here, I've got some text that is bad contrast. This is very hard to see. Now we can tell this is really hard to see, but there might be other text that you think looks fine, but that doesn't pass the good contrast. So the checker will check for that. Bad headings, one thing, they need to be sequential. For I've gone from a heading 2 to a 4 without using a 3. And headings must be less than 120 characters. So this is a heading that I've made with more than 120 characters. All right, this is a bad image. Now it's a good image, that's my granddaughter, but it has no alt text added. So when I run the accessibility checker, this will fail because there is no alt text added. And now this is a bad table because there is no caption and I have not set up column and row headings. Now for us reading, we can see that I do have headings, number, first name, last name, but I have not specified those as header in Canvas. And so it will not pass that accessibility checker because a screen reader would not be able to tell the difference between the actual rows and which are the headings. So to run the accessibility checker, I'm going to click on Edit. All right, and the accessibility checker is this little person icon up in above the text box. And if I hover over it, it says Check Accessibility. So I'm going to click on that. And over on the right-hand side, it shows me what problems I have. It says the text is not correct. Now, one of the things I can do is I can move this around, and you see it's grayed out here. When I get enough text contrast that it passes, I can click on Apply, and it will make that change automatically for me. So I don't have to play around, try this, nope, try that, nope. I can come in here, I can drag this over until it passes, and then I can apply. So I'm not going to apply. I want to leave this as a bad page for the next time, but I click on Next, it automatically takes me to my next item. Now here it's highlighting this heading 4. It's showing me that I skipped a level. So I can leave it as it is and just go to the next thing, or I can fix it and it's automatically going to fix that heading to be 3 rather than a 4. Again, I'm just going to leave it this time and go next. Here it's telling me that it's more than 120. I can change it to a paragraph rather than a heading. Next, it's telling me that there is no alt text, so I can automatically add my alt text right here and apply, and it's going to fix it automatically for me. If this is decorative image and there is nothing that needs to be put in for alt text, I can check here that it's a decorative image so that it will just be skipped over by a screen reader. All right, and now this is telling me that I do not have caption for this table. And the next one is telling me that I need headers. I have to have at least one header. And again, I can automatically use the buttons here to fix this if I want to. All right. And so that showed me all the problems. Like I said, I don't want to fix them in this one here, but I could have. All right, and now I'm just going to go to my next page of my module, and this is the same page where I fixed everything. So now this has good contrast. It's a contrast that passes. Here are my good headings. I have them sequential, 2, 3, 4, and I have a heading that is less than 120 characters. Here is a good image because I have added alt text. This is a good table because I have added a caption. That's what this ITD team members is a caption explaining what the table is. And then these are set up as column headings. And so if I edit and run the checker on this one, yay, it passed and there's no problem. So, all right, let me skip back to here. All right, do we have any questions?
Yeah, hi, Cindy. This
Hi.
is Ranjana.
Hi.
So the table that I'm seeing you made in that page, that was made within Canvas, or did you just copy a Excel?
No, I create it within Canvas. So, and I will show you in a little bit how you add those headers to them.
Is it easy to copy from like Excel onto Canvas? I've never done that.
I haven't really tried it. I'm not sure. Even if it did and it worked, you would probably have to go in and make those headings, column headings. I don't think they would paste in automatically, but I'd have to test with that. I'm not sure.
Okay, thank
I
you.
haven't tried that either, so.
Okay.
All right, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is the fact that the accessibility checker can be helpful, but it does not check for all problems. Well, it says here now, it only verifies content created within the rich content editor. Well, that means basically if you have Word documents uploaded and things like that as a file, it's not going to check your files. It only checks pages, assignments, things that you've created there. So you'll still have to worry about any Word documents you've uploaded, things like that. For the headings, it doesn't check to see if it's a real header instead of just larger text. So if I create bold words to make it a heading, but I don't specify that it's a header, it's going to pass the accessibility checker, but it will be hard for a student using a screen reader to understand that, hey, this is a heading. So that's not as good to do it that way. Alt text, it said at the beginning there that if you upload a file, it automatically makes the title of the file the alt text. So if your file name is not descriptive enough, the student will still have no idea what that file is. So, but it will pass the accessibility checker. It also does not check to make sure that links are attached to words. And I'll show you all of these things in my next page. So I'll go next. No, this is my bad page 2. So first of all, I have bad headings because this heading was just created as bolder in a different color, but it has not been specifically made a heading. This is a bad image, and the reason it's bad is because it used the file name as the alt text. So this long thing here is the alt text. So if a student got to that and it read the alt text, it would read this number off, and the student would have no clue what this picture is, but it's going to pass the accessibility checker because there is alt text there. Now this is a bad link because it is just a link. Again, the screen reader would read off this entire thing, and the student would have a hard time figuring out what this is linking to. And so I will run the accessibility checker on this quick to show. It is finding they've made the accessibility checker a little better because before this always passed, but now it says that I should be describing it, not just using the file name. So that part of it is passing, but that was the only problem that it found. So all the other problems that I pointed out, let me cancel here, that the headings were not real headings and that the link is not attached to words, those passed, even though these would not be good for a student with disabilities. So the next page is, this is my good page where I've actually made this a heading, an official heading, and I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. This has alt text that is actually a descriptive of what that picture is. And now here's an example of a link that's attached to words. Rather than just the giant URL, it says accessibility within Canvas. You click on that and it's going to open that page up. So, all right, so I'm going to click to a new page in my module quick. I just have a blank page created, and I'll show you how to do some of these things. All right, edit. All right, so to create an official heading, you're going to click on this paragraph button, drop down, and that's where you choose a larger, small, or smaller heading. So if I start with that, now that has been officially made a heading. So that's how you want to create headings, not just make the word bigger and bolder or a different color. That way a screen reader will read that this is a heading. If I'm going to add an image, and what I'll do quick is upload a new image. And the nice thing about uploading a new image, it gives me the option right here to add the alt text right as I'm uploading it. And then when I click on upload, that picture has been added. A little smaller. And alt text has automatically been added. If I have a picture I am adding that's already been added into Canvas. Let's see if I choose this. And I don't know if it has alt text added or not. Excuse me. If I click on the image to select it, and then I click on this image link that looks like a little picture up at the top, this is where I can enter my alt text. Now this added in the name of the file, which is maybe descriptive enough. If not, I could change that and then click on update. So that way I know now that that has good alt text added to it. And if I run my accessibility checker, that's the best way to double check. Now, if I want to create a table within Canvas, I have this table button that I click on, highlight and decide how big I want this table to be. Now, this is something I have to look up every single time I do it. It is not exactly intuitive, but it's not difficult to do. So first of all, I would like to add a caption. That way I can explain what is this table. I'm going to click on this, table icon again up at the top. And I'm going to go to Table Properties. Nope. Maybe it's this one. Shoot. I did this right before to make sure I knew how to do it, and it's not showing me the caption option. It's usually here, table. Okay, click on a cell, table icon, table properties, caption. There it is. I just missed it. So I click on that caption button, and then I click OK. And there is actually now at the top, you can't really see it well, but this is the caption. So
So you have to do that separately?
yes.
Okay.
I don't think it. All right. To do the column headings, I'm going to highlight the columns. Again, I'm going to click on that table icon up above, table properties. Yeah, I'm not sure it's why it's showing me different things. I just did this ahead of time to check to. Okay, so maybe what I have to do is here. So that's what I'm doing wrong is for this. I click on the drop down for table. I go to cell,
The cells, yeah, the
cell
row.
properties. Yep. And so I'm going to set the type as a header. That's making that entire row header cell. And the scope is its column headers. And then I click OK. Now there's no difference when you look, but to a screen reader, it's going to know, hey, that's the headings.
What's the V align and H align?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Sorry.
No worries.
Yeah.
Cindy, post that once more.
What was that?
Show me that one more time.
Okay. If I highlight the cells, and maybe I'll do it for the row this time, highlight them, and then click on the table drop down. And now this is row. So I'm going to go, yep, column. Nope, I have to go cell, I'm sorry. And then it's cell properties. And that's where in the, cell type, header cell, and now the scope, these are row headers. Yeah. And then I click OK. And I can send directions on how to do that. Like I said, every time I do it, I have to do it a couple of times. It's not difficult if you know what you're doing and if you do it all the time. But otherwise, if you look at the directions, Canvas has good directions on how to do it. So, and in case, probably everybody knows, but just in case, if you want to attach a link to words, you type the word that you want to use, highlight it, click on link to URL. This is where you would paste your URL in. So hey, I've got the library one in there, let's do that. And then insert link. So then students would now know that it should have been SVC library, but then they know if they click on that, that's going to take them to the library. Now let me run my accessibility checker real quick and see what it does. It tells me the table should include a caption, and it looks like I did that incorrectly when I was trying to add it. So I would just have to go back again and add my caption. Yeah. Somehow I deleted my caption. So it's right above. So that's the caption. And so now if I rerun my accessibility checker, hey, it passed. All right, now the only last thing I want to show you quick, and then I'll see if you have questions. If you go to the Canvas guides, so click on help and then search the Canvas guides. And then you type in accessibility. All right, my guide doesn't seem to be searching. Usually you type in accessibility unless we spelled it wrong. It finds a couple of different pages that show you information on accessibility within Canvas. So just so you know, if you have...
Maybe you have to be in either Canvas guides or community guides.
No, there it goes. It's just being very slow all of a sudden. So here it does. How do you use accessibility checker? There are a couple other accessibility with, we don't use Studio, so. But anyway, it gives you a few different pages that you can find to give you help with accessibility. And if you have questions about anything, you can always contact us also. So that's what I have. Let's see if anyone has any questions. And yes, the table part always confuses me, so I'm sorry if that confused more than helped. So.
Yeah, I was just going to add that I've used that table in the past, the table features, and I have found it extremely cumbersome, especially the padding and spacing. And it never, like I was adding pictures in there for separate units so people could tell this is childhood, adolescence, aging, and related readings. And it would resize, reshape, do things that I didn't want it to do.
Yep.
It was just a mess. That's why I asked if there's a better way of importing a table that I could just bring in and stick it right into the page. That would be helpful.
Yeah, I'm not 100%. I mean, yeah, I'm not really sure. I have not tested with that at all. We'd have to figure out pasting it in. And as far as the way making things a caption and doing the header things, those are all for someone using a screen reader. So if you've got a nice table that looks really good to you, to a student using a screen reader, they'd come in and they wouldn't be able to maybe understand all the information that's on there. So that's the basic reason for having those if you are using a table. If you've got things like you're talking about a table with images, as long as the images had alt text, then that would, okay, they'd click and it would show them the alt text for, hey, this is a link to, module 1 or a link to this or that. So.
Sure.
Yep. All right. Do we have any other questions?
You're going to show us the agenda?
Oh, yes.
In different.
Yep. On my calendar. So I'm just going to add a couple of things to my calendar. I said 3 things. See if this was something for a student. All right, so this is what it looks like on the work on the week that it belongs to, or the day, I'm sorry. If I go to the agenda, this is what it shows. It's showing me at 12 p.m. on June 1st, I have a workshop. 1 p.m. then the 3rd, I have a meeting. So, and I can click on to go to them just the same, but it's just an easier, cleaner layout for someone that either doesn't see well or for a screen reader to be able to read it better. All right?
So it's something that the student has to just know to click there to see it that way. We have
Yes.
to just let them know that. We don't have to do anything differently.
No, you don't have to do anything. That's something that there are a few of these things are things the students themselves would have to do, and that's something that disability services would help them with. But just so you understand that there are ways. So if you ever did have a student contact you saying that I don't know this or I have a hard time with that, you'll know that there are some things built in that can help, and you can always refer them to us if they, you had a student contact you and saying, I just have a hard time seeing all the links. And you say, hey, wait, there was a way you can get them underlined. Contact the support center. They can help you. We would walk them through how to do that. So that's a lot of this workshop here, is to let you know what types of things are there. And that accessibility checker is real nice to be able to just quickly go through. So even if last minute you had found out, hey, I've got a student with a visual disability that's going to be in my class, you could go through your pages, run the accessibility checker and see, okay, is this passing, or are there things that I need to do to fix this for them? So it makes it a lot easier for you to go through.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. All right, so do we have any other questions? I know we ran over a little bit. Okay, well, thank you for attending.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Cindy,
Yes?
are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Did you have to do something different for this thing to emerge in Teams saying turn off or turn on live captions in the preview? Because I haven't seen that in other meetings. Just in the Teams meeting itself, I turned it on just to see because the workshop was about accessibility.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even know it had anything built in for Teams.
Yeah, no, I just turned it on because it had this thing about turn on or off live caption. So while you were talking, I had the captions on.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't know if I could capture them or not, but because they just showed up kind of like closed captioning does. So that was interesting. And the second question I had was, can I move this little bar of like what's recording and the camera and things away from the main screen? Because it obstructs view.
Right. I think what I've done in the past, if you move your cursor way down to the very bottom of your page, like so it's kind of off the screen, after about a couple of seconds, it'll disappear on its own.
Oh, really?
Yes. So just move your cursor down to the bottom bar, and then wait a second or two, and then usually it just disappears. Because I had that same problem where I can't see what someone's showing me because the bar is in the way.
So do I have to be in the full window or a minimized window? Because I have a somewhat minimized window and it's not doing that.
It doesn't seem like it should matter, but I know with mine, I just move my cursor and let me share my screen again.
Yeah. Ranjana, if you have your open applications listed across the bottom of your screen, that's where I moved my mouse to make it go away. I had no idea it would do that. That's great.
So all the way to where we pin different applications?
Yes.
Yes.
I am doing that, but it's not, it takes a little bit, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Dawn. I recognize your voice. So that's really helpful because it does obstruct view and I'm trying to see something that's right below it. It hasn't gone yet, though.
It's gone away for me usually after only about 3 or 4 seconds. Oops.
Yeah, take your finger off the mouse.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. No, it hasn't gone for me, though.
Strange.
That I just to double check, it's the bar on which you see the icons that you have pinned, right? The same bottom bar below the windows. Okay.
Yes. Yep. And I just move my mouse and leave it there, and then that that bar you're talking about disappears automatically.
No, it doesn't. Well, I'll look into it more and see if there's some other solution.
Yeah, I'll see if like Deb Roberts or somebody else in our team knows why it wouldn't be disappearing. So, and maybe they've got a clue. Are you using a Mac?
No, it's just a regular
Okay.
Dell.
Okay,
And it's actually my desktop, so
okay.
that's
That's
why
the
I
only
was.
reason I could think why it might be different if I'm using a Windows. If you were using a Mac, it might make a difference. But yeah, I'm not sure why it wouldn't, because that does get annoying. It goes right over the top of things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I have to keep trying to move the window, and it
Yep.
moves along with it, and I'm
Yeah.
kind of like, okay, I just can't see the cell she's trying to show me.
Right. Yep.
This real-time captioning is amazing.
Yeah.
I had never seen that before.
Yeah, I saw it today, and I thought maybe you did something different. Maybe it's always been there, but I wasn't tuned into it. I don't know, but I just saw it and I turned it on, and it was interesting because I could literally caption everything that was going on. Yeah. No, mine still didn't go. I put it on full screen mode, and I'm sitting with the thing in there, so I don't know what the story is.
Well, look, check and see if anyone else has any idea why that would not disappear for you.
Yeah. Cindy, would you please send us a recording as well as a PowerPoint whenever you do? Because most of these things I come back to when I'm actually constructing my course, and then I'm kind of like, oh, I know she showed me somewhere here and there,
Yep.
and I'm clicking away wildly at things that make me further nervous.
Right. Well, we are making them available a couple of different places, so I'll make sure I let you know where. Once I've got it, I'll clean it up a little bit, the front and end, and then post it up, and I'll let you know where you can access it. Okay?
Great. Thank you so much. Sorry
All
to
right.
hold you back.
Okay. Any other questions then before I go? All right. Thank you for attending.
Yeah. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.